So yeah. So hello, very warm welcome to the VAR show, the show which talks about all of these major football leagues in detail. Today we are going to conduct team of interviews, and we have Mr. Alexander Zwiers with us, who is the technical director of Jordan Football Association. Not only that, he also has a wealth of experience under his belt. He has managed in some form or the other across the world, like every continent probably, and very experienced in big names, institutions, and first of all, it's an honor to have him today here on the show. First, and for that, I would like to thank you, Alex, for coming. And I'll just call you Alex because Alexander is very long. Do people call you Alex normally?
Yeah, normally it's Alex. Yeah, my full
Okay,
name is Alexander, but Alex is fine. Eh? No problems.
okay,
It's
okay,
a little
okay.
bit
I'll call
easier.
you Alex.
Yeah.
No, Alexander, you have to say it twice, Alexander. So it's like it takes, it takes a lot of takes the flow. So I'll call you Alex. So thank you, Alex, for coming on the show and a warm welcome. And I would like to begin by asking you, how are you and what have you been doing these days?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, we are doing well under these difficult circumstances. Well, all over the world, with this COVID-19 epidemic. First of all, I would like to thank you. It's a big pleasure to be inside your programming. And when you contacted me, I was thinking, okay, this is very nice. Thank you so much. And yeah, because of the COVID situations, we are able now to manage this kind of interviews, and I'm very delighted to be inside. Yeah, we're doing very well, I have to say. We are still in good health. We can still continue with some activities. At the moment, I'm in Jordan, based in Amman, the capital of Jordan, where is also our federation is based. So yeah, overall, I think because of the circumstances, we are doing well. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely, and that's good to hear. And I'll ask you like very basic question. And since you have been involved in football for a lot of time, why football? How did it start for you?
Yeah. How does it start? It started already when I was young. It's something what you're born with. Football was your passion from the day that I was born. I remember my first present what I get from my father and mother was some baby football shoes. Was directly beside my bed, and then when you're as a kid, you had your dream to become a professional football player. So you hang up all your idols hang up in your room, and you're dreaming about being a professional player. And but during the time goes on, then you yeah, and you start to realize that maybe you cannot realize your dream as a player. So then you start to think, okay, how I can still realize my dream to be inside the professional football, and the passion of the game, the emotion in the game, developing players, um, and let players enjoy the game, let the fans enjoy the game. So then I started to change the career move. I started to invest in my coaching education. I was 15 years when I was starting to coach youth players. Was in our local area, local village. That was my first steps as a coach, and I really loved it. It was very nice. Actually, I had to coach children who were older than myself, so that was already my biggest challenge, to push them a little bit forwards and to let them also respect your opinions. But you really start to enjoy that you can help and support players to develop them in the skills and to enjoy the game of football. And from there, it started to grow up. You start to follow the coaching courses. You start to increase your licensings. You go up in coaching levels. And then at my age of 22, I had the opportunity to start to coach in Ireland, where for my education. That was my first international um, coaching experience for 6 months. There was like an internship for my UEFA A license. And then when I came back, I had the opportunity, the chance to travel to Qatar, to work there at Aspire for Excellence and the national teams. And yeah, and then the ball started to roll. You come from one another international projects. So from Qatar, you move to Saudi. From Saudi, I moved to Mexico, and from Mexico to Kazakhstan, China, Emirates. So yeah, but why football? I think it's the emotion. I'm an emotional person, So it's the spirit, the joy of being together, um, to complete the game in victory, to fight for it, but also to do it in an art way, in a very nice way together, and thinking in processes. So it's not only about the game, but also how we can achieve results, how we can make the game beautiful.
Definitely, definitely. And you like one name, like you said, like how you had a chance to move to Qatar, and Aspire is one of the biggest names, at least in terms of academies and institutions there. How did that happen? And you know, like before that, I have one. When you're answering that, I'll just look up. I had one more person who had come here, who had worked in Qatar in Aspire. I just forget his name. I'll just say it to you. Okay, and before Andrew Cooper, yeah, Andrew. You know Andrew?
Yeah, I know Andy.
Yeah, yeah,
Andy
yeah, yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
a
So
very nice colleague. I think
yeah,
he's
yeah,
working now currently in India.
yeah.
He's an amazing guy. Actually, we didn't work together. I was before him,
Okay.
but because I was working in Aspire, we had a lot of contacts with each other. We meet each other in Qatar 2 times, and he's an amazing guy. He's from England, a good coach, very talented coach. I started in Aspire for Excellence in 2002, where it was basically no facilities, nothing. It was only that the main stadium, Khalifa Stadium, and beside Khalifa Stadium there was a big grass pitch. We started with a group of 5 coaches, where we started to develop the first generation in Qatar, and it was I think the 98 generation and 99 generation. And started out to move from there. And the first 2 years, it was still not open. Started from 2004, I believe, that the facility started to become open. And how I came over there when I was studying the AFC of the UEFA A license in Holland. The instructor had contact with the technical director in Qatar, which is named Ruud Doctor. Ruud Doctor is now also head of performance in the Irish Football Association. Highly experienced technical director also, and he was recommended by the instructor, and he contacted me. Alex, I'm looking for some coaches, so it can come sometimes very strange. And he said, I'm looking for some coaches. Are you feeling interested? At that time, actually, I was also at the point to travel to America to follow their to work there in an academy. But I think, okay, why not? Let's go ahead. Looks a nice, ambitious project, good project. So, and I was very happy to have this part in my career, to my first steps in the Middle East as a coach, and also the first to be something what you build up from scratch. You build up something from scratch, from a training bridge to one of the best aspired academies in the world, football youth academies in the world. The facilities are amazing, and the development plans are top class. So it was a very nice journey from the start of my international career. Yeah.
Definitely. And you're like now with Jordan, you're a technical director. How did Jordan happen?
Again?
How did you go to Jordan? How did Jordan happen to you? Like what?
Yeah. When I was working in the Emirates, I was meeting up uh, Bella Hassan Malouche. He was former technical director of the Emirates, and we came in contact with each other because I was organizing there. Also, beside technical director of a club which is named Wagda, I was also organizing the youth competitions for the under nines, under tens, and under 11s, because this was organized by clubs and not by the federation itself. And then I came in contact with the TD of the federation, Bella Hassan Malous, and we had a good relationship with him. And after that, he moved to Jordan. And when he was working in Jordan, he said, Alex, I'm looking for somebody who can assist me at the federation. Now, okay. So then the ball started to roll, and we start to introduce with each other and talk. And then I started in April 2019 in Jordan. And after that, he left, and I took over his position. I had the honor to take over his position as TD from the Federation of Jordan. Till now, I'm overrunning over here.
Definitely. And you like to be frank, I do not know much about like football in Jordan. How is football in Jordan?
Yeah, how is football in Jordan? I think Jordan is the biggest sport in Jordan. Football is the biggest sport in Jordan. People are very passionate about football. Jordan people are very emotional. They have a high fighting spirit, high determination to get a high income outcome from the game. And if we are playing matches, you can really see that back in the spirit how they play football. High tempo, intensity of the game is very high from the coach's side, from the player side. They have a high focus rate. The focus rate is very high. The passion is very high. They're always coming to training. They're always attending the games. So it's a yeah, it's very nice to be over here and to be a part of the Jordan football. They love the game, really love the game over here, and they have also a quite good record in the past in Asian football. So as a country with a capacity of 11 million people, Jordan did quite well in international level. Yeah.
Definitely. And like when you went there, because you said like from where you come, football is main religion, and wherever you have been in Europe, football is main religion. Like like is the main sport. You may have some places here and there, but more or less, I think football is the main sport in most places. And even like you said, Jordan is the main sport. People like football, love football a lot, but football is not that good like compared to maybe Europe where you have experienced. What were the difficulties that you saw when you first came to Jordan? Like okay, this needs to be changed, or this needs to be changed, this is something we have to improve. What were the things that you saw?
Yeah, first of all, I think football is universal, eh? So the sport is everywhere the same rules, same dimension of the field. Uh, Only where's the difference inside is that um, the interpretation of how to play football. So the background, the culture of the country itself, this is very important. So the identity, each country has a different spirit of how they want to play football, and it's how they living in daily life. So the culture of the country itself and the living circumstances, you can always reflect it back to to the game itself. Some countries like to have very attractive football play. Some countries like to play more based on results, so more in a direct way of playing football. Different principles they have inside the game model. So when I came to Jordan, first thing what I always do is that what is the starting level, what is the identity of the people, how they see the game, and how we can improve the game accordingly to their vision and philosophy. So you try to bring in the teaching principles, the coaching methodologies, and how you can develop this playing style inside the development plans. But at a certain point, you also want to bring in a playing style that people recognize themselves in. So, what is close to their heart, close to their spirit, close to the mind. So it makes no sense to copy, for example, the game model from Holland inside Jordan. It's no sense, and so you have to see and observe very well how is the characteristics, how is the mindset, and how we can convert it back to the field, and how we can set a development plan to make progressively and consistently. So, and then you start to think about how we can develop players, how we can develop the coaches, how we can develop the clubs, everything based in the philosophy and I call it the Jordan way football identity. And this has been spread out over a couple of years. And what you want to do over here is to leave behind a local legacy. So it's not about me, it's about the people, it's about the country, what you're serving over here. And then you are investing time in local coaches, in local players. You give them the time to develop, you give them time to make mistakes and errors, you know, at the end to make progression and to go forwards behind. So new people, new coaches, young generation, you give chances to grow up to a high level. And but overall, the game is always the same, and the framework of development on the pitch, in training plans, is always everywhere the same. Only the style of playing is different. So if you're now in Mexico, or if you're now in Emirates, or if you're in Qatar, or in Kazakhstan, or in China, the framework of methodology, the tactics, development, training plans is always the same. Only your starting level, where you will start with, how complex your training sessions will be, how complex your coaching will be, how you can set your targets is differently. Plus the playing style, the playing principles, the playing identity, and the mentality of the players and the mentality of the coaches, because that has to be close to each other.
Definitely. And you mentioned like how you try to bring your methodology and maybe get the local flavor what they are comfortable with. For you personally, what is your methodology? Like how do you like playing football?
How, personally, or how we play football over here?
Personally as well as like maybe Jordan, how you play, and personally what do you prefer?
Uh, you know, uh, Personally, I'm really, I like the game, a very attractive game. I like the style, like, for example, Ajax, the way how they play, very dynamic, very fast positional play. So um, thinking offensively in possession, so dominate in possession, control the opponent in possession. Eh? And when you control possession, you control also defensively the opponent, because when you have the ball, they don't have the ball. So you secure that also. So I'm more of a coach who like to have a lot of creativity inside the team, very dynamic play, high positional play, possession play, and with also a lot of freedom for the team with tactical flexibility, so that the players learn how to adapt during the game. uh, Sometimes as a coach you're standing on the sideline, right, and then your influence is gone. So the players need to read the game, they need to understand the game, how to react at certain moments. And I believe in tactical flexibility based on playing principles. So the playing principles is the tool, is the guideline for the players. But how to react on spaces, an opponent, teammates, that is the player who make the decision self on the field. When I reflected back to Jordan, Jordan is more, we thinking more from a defensive perspective. So that means that when you're attacking, it can be that you play a little bit more direct. When you're defending, you drop more a little bit back. You stay a little bit more compact, so you don't go too much forwards, not too much offensive defensively. And also when you're attacking, you have more plays behind the ball. So you don't take so much risk in your game. Right? You are more direct in your way of playing, but we're all with a plan, all well planned. So it's not only kick and rush. No, it's a well planned ball, but where players like to attack the spaces very much behind the defense line. This is Jordan. Jordan like to play very direct behind the defense line. So you have to create the momentums for that. When to on the right moments, you have to create momentums when they can play the ball forwards, and defensively, the high intensity you have to put inside. So that means that everything what they do, you have to keep the intensity inside by being very dynamic in the game, in defensively, and be very aggressive at the moments when they come in your zone. They like to have that. They like to push that. So at the moment when the opponent has the ball, you go a little bit back, you stay compact a little bit together, and you control it a little bit more from there. They don't like to go too much forwards. However, sometimes they need to learn also to go more forwards, because sometimes you have games where the opponent is stronger, but sometimes you have also games where the opponent is a little bit in different way. You need a different way of pressing needed.
Definitely. And one thing that you mentioned is like you like having creativity in your personal team. Like what kind, like we have seen at least of late, it has been brought into more limelight is because of Liverpool, like how you have creativity towards the fullbacks more than maybe through the middle. personally for you, which one do you prefer? Like, how do where do you want many creative, like you want creativity from all the sides, or do you like, okay, particular position you want your creativity to come from there?
Yeah, creativity means that everybody can find a solution in difficult situations. So if you know a defender or midfielders or offensive, creativity is not only one against one going forwards and try to play out the opponent. Creativity means also to find gaps where you can play the ball through in the spaces, that you can bring a player free on the midfield or behind the defense line to forward this key pass, or that you come out in a game situation where you are in underload, right? 1 against 2, you're being doubled by the defenders in the midfield or in a certain zone on the field, that you can twist the ball, you can turn around the ball, make your ball self free, and play out from there again. So this creativity is very important to be developed at younger ages. So that's why grassroots development is so important to let players be comfortable on the ball, and to create also this confidence with them on the ball. Sometimes we as coaches, we want to program too much. Sometimes we see solutions what is maybe not even good for the players, while the players find very good solutions, because they are inside the pitch, they have their momentum, they feel inside this is the right way to find it. And sometimes they find this nice key pass through to defenders or through midfielders, a progressive pass forwards, or a nice creative pass in the run of a player in the space between the lines. I can really enjoy that. And players need to learn that and need to have the confidence for that. So creativity is not only outplaying the opponent, but also the way how you can make a player free in the space with a pass, with a simple pass. It can be a short pass or a long pass, when to bring the ball out under pressure.
Definitely. And you said like how this must be developed ideally through grassroots when children are young, like more comfortable on the ball, more touches on the ball rather than maybe just running around the field and senselessly. And like how is grassroots football in Jordan? Because grassroots football is something that you are known for, like from Aspire to other places. How is grassroots football in Jordan?
And the grassroots football in Jordan is not very well developed, sadly. I think this is one of the issues what we are facing over here, is that they start to play on quite late age. So normally around in club football around 14 years. So there's a long track behind what they are missing. Then you have a little bit school football, but it's also not too much games. So if they're learning the football, then is it on the private academies or on the street? Now, on the learning football on the street is not bad. Huh? This is the best training court there is. But at a certain point, you need to come also to learn to play in football together. Street football is really everybody play for themselves and enjoy. So what we're gonna do here in Jordan now is to create different competitions, different leagues for the youth players, and also like this year we started with an under 13 league where they'll play 8v8 matches. And the plan is that after 2 years, we want to also start with an under 11 league. So slowly, step by step, we want to develop more grassroots football in quantity. But because how important the grassroots is for your national teams or for professional football is crucial, because the grassroots for football is your source of talent. Right? And from this grassroots, talents need to go up to feed the professional football clubs. So if you don't have that, yeah, then the quantity and number of players is very little. Right? So what you see in Jordan, for example, is that so many talented players don't get the chance because they are not being scouted or they're not being seen, and they start to play at a late age. So grassroots football is really um, yeah, your fundament, your source of your football. Why Holland is doing so good and so stable is because of amateur football. Amateur football, the high number of quantity of players is a very important part of the success of Holland football, because you have so many people who can play in organized competitions. And from there, the filtering starts with feeding the regional teams, the professional clubs, and the national teams. So grassroots football is crucial for your country.
Definitely. And like you said, like how you intend to have a competition so that more people come up through the youth ages. Like, is that already in the process, or when are you starting that?
Yeah, we're starting this year with an under 13 league. So this year, and it's an under 13 league, and it's a child friendly league. So what you if you want to remove the competition element, so just to let the players experience the game. The player always want to win, right? So the desire and ambitions and the drive is always there with the players. But sometimes it's the coach who is putting a negative load inside because he want to look for the outcome, for the results. So then he start to obligate players some actions or some moves what is not correctly to develop the player in a positive way. So the losing can have a negative impact on the love for the game for the child, and child can don't forget quickly. So we will remove the competition element by not uh, rewarding champions. They're all champions, and they're all champions, and we only posting only the outcome of the games. So we don't post the ranking, only the outcome of the games we are posting. So in this way, we want to remove a little bit the pressure from the games, and then also we make it child friendly to have multiple substitution. So we divide the game in three halves, and if you play in the first half, second half you can play again, no problem. So it's not only 15 minutes or 10 minutes they can play and the whole day they're sitting on the bench. No, the coach has the time and the opportunity to let them all the time play. So this is also really supporting the child to be motivated and enjoy the game. So in this way, we try to stimulate children more, to join the football and to have a good and positive experience. Also to make a next step again to professional football.
And what is the turnout that you are expecting?
Very positive. Be very positive. We get a lot of positive reactions on it, and yeah, they have now chance to play. So it will be a tremendous boost for Jordan football.
Definitely. And like you said, like how amateur football is very much required for maybe continuous supply of maybe youth players or talents to maybe the senior team or the bigger clubs or the national team. Like you gave an example of Holland, and but there, right, like you have, if you play you can go to the top, you can earn money, it can be financially stable. Not everyone is financially stable, but it can be if you're good, if you put in Jordan. Is football a realistic like a profession? Can people have the financial stability?
But it's realistic to achieve professional football. Financial stability is only for a small number of players reachable. Yeah? So that means that you as player you have to set always aims for yourself and thinking always in next level. So that means that if you're playing in amateur football, then you will try to go to a professional club as a youth player, and then you try to stay as long as possible in a professional club and try to get the maximum out of your potential as a youth player. But then the next step is to go to the first team in the pro club, and after you play in the highest level in the country itself. Then the next ambition is to play for the national team or to travel outside. So you need to be driven every time by personal goals. And Jordan football, I can say the top clubs they have they can good live. They can live from it. It's not like other countries, but they can take care of their families and they can support their family life to be as a professional player. I just to come back to your topic before with the grassroots. I think what very important point is that talent identification. So when why is grassroots so important is everybody knows that you cannot tell to somebody who's 9 or 10 years if he's a talent and he will go to the professional football, yes or no. So and that's why you need to have a big pot, a pool of players. When a player is around 15, 16, 17, then you can say, okay, now he has chance to achieve professional football. So that's why it's always very important not to focus only on about the small range of players at the professional clubs. That it need to be very dynamic. You have late developers, you have early developers, you have early mature players, you have late mature players. So this development of the person itself, as you know, when you become a teenager, you start to grow fast, everything start to change. Now, somebody do it at 15, somebody do it at 13. So it's always very important to have your amateur football well organized and grassroots football well organized. If it's very limited, very small, that means that you always focus on the same players. And then you will miss a lot of opportunities also. Just to make a small back,
Yeah.
to grassroots, just to
Another
explain how important it is.
no, yeah, that is of course hitting the nail, like right, and hitting the hammer right on the nail. And I wanted to ask you, like, how is the league, professional league in Jordan, like, because like you said, like, you need to have uh, league, amateur teams who are providing, but you also need to have like maybe two, three structured leagues so that like you the players that you're scouting or developing, everyone gets to develop probably at in the same season. It shouldn't happen like one player is developing this season, another player is developing next season. So how is the league in Jordan?
Yeah, for the seniors or for the youth or
Like
overall?
overall, like even seniors, how it is, like, is it
All right.
division wise? Do you have relegation, promotion?
You know, Jordan is not a very well-fed country. They have a good life over here, but it's not like that each club can play all out over the year. So if you start with the professional clubs, the pro league, I think it's very good organized. They have a league of 12 clubs. They will play 22 games all over the year. I think it's a very competitive league, a strong league, because you can see that in the results. It's always 1-1, 1-0, 2-2. It's always very close results. There are not big gaps. However, there are two clubs who normally always standing out from the others. Who they have a little bit more capacity to make the difference. And then below that, below the Pro League, we have the First Division League, which is existing from 14 clubs. And then below that, we have the Second Division League, who's in two groups of 8 teams. And then after that, they coming together to play the KO rounds. And then below that, we have regional amateur leagues on the third division. For the youth, we start with the under 13 league. With the under 13 league, we don't make difference in pro level or elite level. They just start all. And then we have two playing rounds. And so in the first round, everybody play against each other. And then on a natural way, you get a certain end ranking. And with the end ranking, we put the best ones together in the second round. So you have a little bit more playing level field. And it's the same with the on the 15s, we have amateur football plus elite youth on the 15, 17, and 19. And they have the same structure. So we have each year we start with 12 teams in the elite youth league. And then we have around 60 teams playing in the amateur league. The amateur league are playing in small groups of 6 till 8, and they will play one round. And then the amateurs will have like this KO rounds in the first round. The best four will go to the second round to play against the elite clubs. And then with the elite youth, we have number 1 and 6 will play in the second round for the championship of Jordan, home and away games. And number 7 till number 12, they will play against the best four from the amateur league for promotion or regulation in the year after in the elite youth league. So in this way, we create a playing level field. So it's not always first division, second division, third division. No, each generation can be different level. So you need to give each generation also a new chance. So that means that, for example, if you have a very good generation at amateur level, they have the opportunity to play against the best in the elite youth. At the same with elite youth, you have to reward also the performance of the academy itself. If they're working very hard, you need to give them the chance to stay. If they're not working hard and they don't care and they don't invest in the youth, yeah, then you will not be rewarded also. So then you have your regulation system. Before it was only fixed teams, so there was no promotion or regulation. So we started this year with this. It's going to be very exciting. And also is that we integrated age balance rule. So age balance rule means that, for example, with the under 17s, you have two age categories who can play in this. Normally, the coaches choose for the strongest, fastest, and the oldest one. Now, to prevent that one, the youngest generation, the two age groups, is not playing, we obligate now the coaches to have at least maximum 7 players from the oldest age category and minimum 4 from the youngest. So in this way, we still stimulate the coaches to use all 2 age groups inside the game. So you don't lose quantity of players outside the game. You know that they will demotivated because they will not play and they have to wait for 1 year. So in this way, we are developing them. I have to say we started last year with it. It was a very tough decision. It was new, but at a certain point, you saw it was very nice to see that coaches start to not think about the ages anymore because of the rule. It was start to become some automatic rule. They don't think about it anymore, and they start to give young children more chances. So that was good to see. So you start to focus also more about football qualities and not only about physical qualities. You start to see also, hey, this small young player, wow, he's very good in dribbling, passing, smart, intelligent, good decisions. So this is a little bit the overall structure for Jordan football for males, for boys. We have also girls and women league. It's very developing also very well in Jordan. I think they do a very good job. We have a pro league for women with 6 teams. They will play 3 rounds. And then we have a first division amateur with 8 clubs. They play 1 round. And then we have an under 17 league for elite youth and for amateur. And we have an under 14 league, which is this year a new one, where they'll play in 8v8 format.
Definitely, definitely. And so, do you have like like many countries or many nations have like like they maybe the national team, but young national team also they put it in one division where they don't get promotion and relegation, but they'll just be there. They may get relegated but not promoted. So you all do you all have any team like that maybe from your national academy?
Yeah, I believe in club development and national team development together. So it's not only national team development, because at the end you're raising also you're developing also players for bringing deliver players for the national team senior, but also for professional football in the country itself. Youth players, you develop them at the highest level. So what we did here in Jordan is we found a nice strategy to balance the training intensity with the national teams and the club. So the youth competition has a duration of 6 months. So we managed to have a full-time program outside the competition. And during the competition, it's a part-time program where they are 1 day in a week national teams gathering. So overall, over 1 year, you come out on around 120 training sessions with the national teams, plus 6 months club development. So if you calculate everything together, then a player comes out maybe about a national team player comes about 260 moments in the year that he's training, he's playing in club level as well as the national team level, and it's working very well. It's this cohesion between club and national teams is going very good. You cannot remove players from the clubs and only focus about them. I believe that they have to go also to the club to be a club player. They to at the end to deliver also players to the first team, and so. It's a nice strategy, a nice system. It's working very well over here. And then we start every time with a new generation 2 years before the qualification. So we are talking about generation, for example, with the national teams under 17, under 20 for 2023 AFC Cup. We call them Generation 23. But then 2 years before 2025, we start with a new generation again. So there's a continuously development programs also with the national teams. It will not stop. And beside the national teams, we feed from below future teams. We call them future teams. And future teams are original development uh, training programs for original talents. So we divided the country in 3 regions, and each region has its own future team where we take players out who has the potential to become a national team player. So we put all the players on the map who are talented. And then from the future teams, we can take the players out to the national teams, or we prepare a new generation. And it's working very well. This is for the age categories under 13, 14, 15, and 16.
Definitely, and that's quite detailed planning that you have done, and like like your team totally for the full region dividing, and always there'll be like surplus of players available for the national team coach to choose from. With what you have done.
We're working hard, step by step. We're moving forward, and you try always to find a combination of what is now the best for the country itself. Each country has this different strategy, his own things. There are countries who have academy and put the academy team inside the competitions. That is a strategy what you can do. But when I entered Jordan, I was thinking this is not the right strategy over here. You have club development. So I was thinking it's better to have a mix and combination of that. But you have a lot of countries where the leagues are a little bit less developed, the club development is a little bit less, club intensity. So then it's maybe better to have the best players full time inside your academy and let the academy team play in the league. So each country has his own needs to develop the players and the national team.
Definitely, definitely, and you have traveled across many multiple countries and continents in respect to football. Did you always want to travel, or was it something that just happened and you went with the flow?
Yeah, last one, right? So it happened. You go with the flow. You roll from one to another. It comes towards you. You have to be alert. You have to be sharp. What so happens around you, put always your spirits on and be alert what's happening around you. Meet up, be open for people who you are meeting daily, who can give you information, catching up the signals, and then you follow up from one to another. See opportunities, see possibilities. Don't see about what is not possible. See about possibilities and opportunities. I had the honor to work with Johan Cruyff, for example, in Mexico. Uh, when I was a kid, I was dreaming about him. You find everything about him, how he was as a coach, and then suddenly you're standing with him with him on the pitch. So that was amazing, and that is all happening. It's all happening, same as that here as TD. It happened. You enroll it because you meet people, and so it's important that as person that you always are open for signals, for people around you who come suddenly popping up in your life and listen and see it as an opportunity, as a chance, and not as a threat or something bad or pushing it away to protect yourself. So yeah, no, it's enrolled. You cannot plan also. Actually, it's so hard to plan. You cannot say yeah, you can say I have the ambitions and the drive to go to a top league. However, you're always depending about what happens in your life. You need a little bit luck. You need to be a little bit on the right moment, right time, right people, uh, and they need to also give you the chance. So no matter how good you are, you need to have the opportunity and the chance to have this.
I did not know about the UN Cruyff one. How was it working with him?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. We worked in Chivas in Mexico, and Uh, yeah, what I liked so much about Johan Cruyff was like he was your daily friend. The first time when you meet each other, I was standing on the training pitch where I was the assistant of the technical director, and he was the leader of the whole project. Chivas Guadalajara, for your information, is one of the biggest clubs in Mexico. He has over more than 34 million fans all over the world, and we had the chance to work in Chivas to implement the whole technical structure from the first team till the youth, and I was part of that. And what was so special is that uh, you know the charm of big people, of famous people, of big personalities inside football is that they are very humble. So they respect everybody the way how you are. So at the moment when you meet each other, it was like, yeah, like it's you meet each other already for years, and you start to talk freely and open about technical situations. But then also he has to come for a dinner, and you have a dinner together, and you start to talk about family life and daily life. So that was for me an experience like, okay, be humble, respect people, and be always normal as you are. Everybody put his effort inside. Yeah, it was amazing. I learned so much things about him, how you have to manage a team, how you have to set up your playing style. Tactically he was far ahead of everybody, and you see it now daily on the playing grounds. For example, with Bielsa or with Manchester City. The style is Barcelona, of course. Barcelona changing a little bit their identity now, but before in the good time with Pep, Xavi, Iniesta, that was really the way how Cruyff, his vision, his philosophy, Ajax. So, it was once time in a life a unique chance. It was a big honor. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like it might have been very, very. I mean, it's just maybe everyone's dream, especially coming from Netherlands. Like to work with Cruyff. I mean, like it must be a very big dream.
Yeah, it was a huge dream, right? And yeah, there are moments that you will never forget your whole life long. It was amazing. It was amazing, and you feel directly the sincere. He's very sincere, so there is no, he is, of course. He don't look down to you or whatever. Yeah, you come there as a coach. You have a little bit experience, but not so much experience as Johan Cruyff, of course. Right? And then, but it was so amazing how normally they are talking to you about football and about daily life. No, was a was an amazing experience.
And like what, like you said, like you learned a lot, and you could see that he was tactically very ahead. What is the biggest thing that you learned from him? Maybe football or outside football. What is the biggest thing that you learned from him?
Johan Cruyff.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Cruyff was always in his principles very simple. So, but the simplicity is very complex. So, for example, don't you can help each other by running away from the ball. There has so much content inside. Or when you're free, don't move. People always have the players always have the ambition to run too much. Or simple, or here very simple is that look for space. Space between the lines, between the fullbacks and the wingers. This kind of very simple details, or the way how you have to play in a player on the right leg, or to play a situations. So how simple you can make the confrontation to the pitch. Running away from the ball, you think, okay, what does it mean now? And because when you have the ball and you come constantly to the ball, yeah, then you close up the pitch, right? So you need to find the right moments to stay away from the ball. So that means that the ball possession player has more time because you're running away. That means that you push the opponent away. And if the opponent is coming to the ball and you're running away from the ball, that means that you're free because you get space. Very simple things, but so difficult, so complex for players to be aware of. Of spaces because they only zoom in on the ball. So orientation, body orientation, anticipation, etc. And you see that a lot in the same systems, the way how Pep is playing. With Manchester City. And the starting point is when you have the ball, the opponent cannot do anything. Uh, they cannot score because you control the game. And at the same time, when you control the game, means also that you are very well organized, and that when the moment when you lose the ball, you can press in directly. Just basic standard principles, but he could explain it in such a good way, in such a detailed way, that you think, hey, right, you're right about that. Sometimes we want to make the game too difficult. We want to make the game too complex that even sometimes we as coaches don't understand, or sometimes even as players don't understand. At the same time, he was also very tough. So if you believe in his vision, he do everything for you. So his leadership skills was amazing. He will do whatever he can take to protect you and to give you the trust and confidence, no matter what, how high the pressure was. He'll give you trust in that.
definitely, definitely. So like we are, will give, yeah, in the final act we have like two or three questions. I won't hold you up much longer. So the first of the three is like if you had to choose one of the highlights of your career till now, which one would that be?
Right again.
If you had to choose one moment, one highlight of your career, of your coaching career, which one would that be?
Oh, it's a difficult one, right? I see each moment as a highlight, because each moment is the next step in your career again, a new opportunity, a new step forwards again for yourself in your life as a coach or as a TD. You had this progression from assistant coach to become a head coach. From head coach, you become a assistant technical director at the club, and then you become a technical director at the club, and then you became a technical director of a federation. So every time it was a highlight for me. It was an opportunity, a big chance. But one thing what you never forget, what always stay emotionally very attached, was my time in Mexico with Chivas Guadalajara with Johan Cruyff. That was for me, a dream, what really a big dream, what came true, to work with such a big legend and such a strong leader. That was for me, the top of all my experience what I had. But I see every chance as a highlight, as an opportunity, and I think everybody should also think like that. Take everything as your opportunity, as a highlight, whatever what you do to push yourself up to the next level.
Definitely. So we'll go to the second last question. Do you prefer coaching or being a technical director?
I like to become a technical director. Really, it's very nice. I like to. It has to really to fit with yourself, but I like to think in processes, in long-term development, in stability, in process, how you can achieve the long term, how you can implement a proper strategy to uh, to push everybody collectively forward, and to create a strong fundament inside the country or inside the club itself, where the club for years can rely on. So I like to work on the background. I like to support and push people forwards to raise them up to a higher level, to work on different dimensions. So dimensions on management level, but at the same time also to push the coaches up to a higher level and the players to a higher level. Um, the TD is really something what is in my heart and in my passion. I love the job. It's really very nice with all the processes what you have to deal with. So it's not only the national teams, it's also a coaching education. It's a grassroots development. It's amateur football. It's school football. You have so many factors, club licensing, where you have to influence on. And I love it. I really love it to help and support everybody in the areas in a step-by-step way, accordingly to the culture and tradition of the country itself or the club.
Definitely. So we'll wrap it up with one final question. And if you had to give a piece of advice to a young coach who's just starting out, what advice would you give?
Yeah, as a young coach, it's very important to invest in yourself. It's a basic answer. I think everybody will know this, but it's really very important to know is that you need to have ambitions, but don't overdrive your ambitions. So wait for the right moment and for the next step. Don't make your next step too fast if you are maybe not ready for it. So invest a lot in yourself, develop yourself, work hard, study each day, uh, prepare everything very well. But at a certain point, you have to also reflect yourself. Am I ready for the next step? Yes or no? So make your own pathway very clear for yourself when you have the ambitions to go every time to the next step. Why? Because if you do too fast the next step, it can burn out yourself directly. Uh, Secure yourself, get experience, develop yourself in a good pathway, and don't go too fast in your ambitions. Don't overdrive too fast. So always have self-reflection for yourself. And what I think is very important, don't think about money. So money is not important. Important is development, progress yourself. So even if you have some opportunities to work somewhere else for money, but it's for your development, maybe not so good, stay in the area where you can stay to develop yourself more on a higher platform. So money must not be the key to push yourself forwards. The key should be development, progression. Put the maximum out of yourself. Develop your own vision, your own philosophy. That is very important. And so don't focus about the external parts, because once you start to focus about the external parts, you lose your focus about your own work, and then you start to maybe to irritate about other external factors, and then you make a bad decision. So focus about your development. Don't care too much about equipment, money. Don't go too fast. When you feel you're ready, make the next step, but be very careful in the right moments and listen very well to the people. Go contact highly experienced people. Go to them. Take initiative. Be proactive. Listen to them. Watch their training sessions. Make notes. Study. Keep in. Be with the best. Stay with the best. Every time only for development to have a clear own philosophy, vision at a certain point, and from there you move on. But as a young coach, you need to develop your own vision and philosophy, how you want to play, how you want to train, how you want to coach, how you want to manage a team. But to have your own vision and philosophy, you need to invest in yourself. And then you go around with the best. You learn from the best because they reach the top. So there is a reason for that. And don't think about money. Don't delay yourself about money. Don't think about difficulties. Think about possibilities. And important is to deal with setbacks. Everybody has setbacks. Don't push it down when you have setbacks, when something is not going well, or you don't get a chance. You feel, I don't get a chance. Don't give up. Keep on going. Keep on pushing yourself. You know, uh, when I was young, I had to do 2 times test on my sport academy. The first one, I was not accepted. So I had to wait for another 1 year before I was going to the sport academy. So, don't give up. Keep on striving yourself and developing yourself and keep yourself pushing forwards. Right? Don't give up.
Definitely, and that would, I think, is very very enlightening, and hopefully it helps any coach, young coach, or any person listening to these players, coaches. That's a very general advice which anyone can apply in any walk of life. Like what you have said. And on that note, Alex, thank you so much for talking to me, and I wish you all the best for all your endeavors with Jordan, whatever you have. Hope everything comes to like fruition, like whatever you have. Like hope you are successful in doing whatever you think of and implement, and hope to talk to you again soon and probably meet you someday. And till then, take care, stay safe, bye.
Thank you so much. It's a big pleasure to be inside, and feel free to contact anytime. I'm more than happy to share more of my experience and advices what I can do. And again, I wish you all a healthy and a good time. And thank you so much for being inside.